100th time recording this intro, but hi. It is night, and I'm a vampire, and thank you for staring at me on the other end of the screen. I really appreciate it. Also, I got new fairy lights, and I'm super happy with them. This video is about why I generally leave modern day retelling Cinderella stories, Cinderella specifically, frustrated, because that's what I'm going to be explaining. It's really simple, so I'm going to give you the simple answer, and then I'm going to explain it, expand, bore you to death. Hopefully not, but it's possible. So why I don't really like modern day Cinderella stories is because they're generic. And I know that's weird to say about a story that is essentially being repeated over and over again. But the thing I like about fairy tale retelling, specifically Cinderella is my favorite one. I've read like a bajillion of them. Is that it's the same story, but it's changing something, and something is different. And I find that a lot of the modern day twists that I read are really relying on this modern thing for their twist, and they don't add to that. They don't add much to the party because they're using the same concepts for their change. So I'm going to give you a beat of what generally happens in there. What generally happens is Cinderella is this girl, usually nothing to do with the name Cinderella. Sometimes it depends on. She lives with a relative and maybe her stepmother, or to shake things up, it's like her aunt or whatever. She with them, and she lives in she's moved out of a room. She's put in a horrible situation, and Cinderella. And so the setup is pretty much the same. They change sometimes who she ends up with. And because this is modern, she can't meet the prince once or twice. She has to know him because this is modern. So usually, sometimes not, but usually she talks to the prince on, her prince, which is either a famous celebrity, pop star, movie actor, person, thing, whatever, usually pop star, or a popular high school athlete who isn't as ruddy as the other ones, who just wants to feel explained. I don't know why, but usually that's how it's like. And so she talks to them on a chat. Sometimes she doesn't. They just skip that. And if it's that high school one, there's usually something where the boy's friends is being a jerk to her, but he's not really a jerk, but he just doesn't do anything about it. And so then they have a high school party, and usually her friend, who just happens to love fashion, helps Cinderella with her wardrobe. And then they go, and Cinderella leaves something. Not usually not a shoe, but something. And then the prince, he puts up posters around their school or on social media or whatever, depending on his status on the popular scale. And then she avoids him for a while. And then Cinderella's like, and then sometimes her stepsisters, they try to intervene because they find out that it's Cinderella. And her friend, she's always like, just go talk to him. And then they end up together because Cinderella talked to him or whatever. and I'm like, stop telling the same story. So I obviously like somewhat repetitive stories because I just like explained that my favorite genre / trope / whatever, my favorite thing to read is Cinderella retellings. But the thing that I really like about them is it's predictable, but I like the change, and it doesn't really show change. And that's why I generally leave the story feeling frustrated, because I'm like feeling mediocre. Like, I want that change, and I don't have anything against modern day retellings. I think that's such cool and could be really good way to retell. But if you're just using that storyline that I just explained, it's too generic. And it's alright, I guess. Like, there have been stories where I've been like, oh, is this what... So, I first saw a Cinderella story and not another Cinderella story. I saw those first, so that is the baseline that I view as, like, the original. This may not be true, and maybe, I don't care. That's how I view it. And I've read books, and I thought, oh, is this the book this movie was based off of? I didn't research it. It could be, it could not be, but they are so similar. And like, they changed, in the movie, the guy was a football player, in the book he was a basketball player. And it's fine, it's just not original, which could work. But, and I understand why people are attracted to that. I'm not. And so, yes. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm gonna do in the next clip ones that I think work. Here are some Cinderella modern day ones that I think are really pretty good and exceptional, and do a good job at twisting the story. I think a good one to read is Cinder, I'm not sure, and Ella. It's about this nice girl, and she gets in a car crash, and her legs don't work right. And before that, she happened to be texting, like, on her blog or whatever, a celebrity, which falls under the trope, but it's fine because everything else is pretty unique. She is a huge fan of this book, and a lot of it builds up, and it's really interesting story, and I think that's probably the best modern day Cinderella telling. There's this other one, I think it's called Anti-Cinderella, and it's about this girl, and her name is actually like Cindy Ella, and her mom called her Cinderella or whatever, but everyone just calls it Indy. This isn't really a retelling. It's saying this is what this is in real life, and it just has Cinderella in the title to attract Cinderella lovers. It's really interesting. I recommend the movie over the book, because in the book, so there's a love triangle, and in the book you don't meet the second guy, or like she knew him first, so the first guy until like 5 chapters in. So I think the movie is probably better than the book. So watch the movie. One that has a really unique take on it, I don't know what it's called, but it's about this girl, and she and her stepfamily are going to this like hotel thing where they're throwing a play with this famous dude, and then the VIP, yes, they get to be in the play. So it's about And then Cinderella, she ends the play. It's actually Cinderella. It's really cool. It's about her and how she balances the play and her life. Yeah. And it's really interesting. I recommend that one. I'm gonna note this. I actually like the modern day retelling movies better than the books. Probably because I watched the movies first. Except for that one, where we had the love triangle, because the other one the movie was really better, because it did do better on the love triangle. Even if you kind of know who she ended up with. But in the end, does it really matter? No. Sorry for the terrible audio. I know I'm really quite a person, and I had one this silly girl, and she said, "Why don't you talk much?" I just don't have much to say, and I'm a quiet person, like I said. So sorry for the low volume. I'm gonna edit it, but it's probably terrible audio, and I feel so bad. But I recorded this intro 35 times, and then and my voice is tired, and I had a lot of fun talking about it. If you want to talk to me about Cinderella retellings, I am for it. I want to tell you this, so I'm going to make a bonus video, and at the bottom of this video, it will be there. And if you click on it, it's only it's not most videos, so I'm going to tell you, and I'm really excited. Okay, bye.